Hello. QR codes have been around for some time. QR stands for quick response. And you know how they work. You simply point your camera to it and all of a sudden you can click on it and you go to a website. Well, these can be very, very useful on your own materials. If you make flyers, or in this case, as an example, we'll be working with your business cards, you can actually pass out business cards and have people go right to your website or whatever other site you want them to go to. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create QR codes directly into Microsoft Word. You don't need any extra tools. You can just use Microsoft Word and do it directly. Then I'm going to show you how to take that QR code and create a whole sheet of business cards. All right, hang on, sit back, and we'll go ahead and get started by making a QR code. All right, working with the business card example, and remember this could be a flyer, it could be anything, invitations to a wedding or a party, anything that you wanted to add a QR code. But we're going to go ahead and start creating business cards. So I'm going to go to the Mailings tab, starting with a blank document, going to the Mailings tab, and I'm going to choose Labels. Now, the business card labels that I'm using are, in this case, are Avery labels, so I'm going to go ahead and choose Options here so I can choose the label type that I'm going to work with here. I'm working with Avery US, so I'll scroll down and find that. And then I'll scroll down to the number. And when you buy Avery labels, as I'll show you with the image here that pops up, you'll have specific numbers that you can work with here. And in this case, I'm working with the 23871, and we'll scroll down till we find it here. All right, and here I found it. It is actually 28371. That's just why it's handy to have the box right in front of you there. Then I'm going to go ahead and choose OK, and then I'm going to choose New Document, which creates a new document or an entire sheet of labels. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and start by bringing in a logo, and because I'm kind of vain, I'm going to go ahead and build business cards for myself here. So I'm going to create a logo at the beginning here. I already have one, so I'm going to do an insert. I'll do pictures, and it's on this computer here, and I will scroll down here and I will go ahead and find my logo. Alright, so I'm making the first business card, and then I'm going to replicate it all along here. So I'm going to go ahead and size this, and I'm going to change the wrapping style to square so that I can move it around if I need to here. There we go. I don't want it at the very, very, very top here. Alright, now that I've adjusted my image, I'm ready to go ahead and put in the barcode. So I'm going to click below my logo, and this is where I'm going to create my barcode. Again, when we create the barcode, it's actually going to be a two-step process for practical purposes here. I'll create the barcode, but it's going to come in essentially as a character. I won't be able to size it like a graphic image or move it around. And so I'm going to then go ahead and copy the QR code that I create, and then I'm going to delete it, and then I'm going to paste it as an image, and once I paste it as an image, then I'll be able to move it and size it just like any other graphic image. That sounds a little bit confusing. It really isn't. Let's just go ahead and see the steps here. So I'm going to create a QR code directly in Microsoft Word through the field code, and I'm going to manually insert a field code with Control F9. Now when I do Control F9, you'll see the little squiggly brackets. You might think, well, I could just type squiggly brackets here, but no, you have to do that Control F9. Trust me, I tried it without this. The Control F9 not only displays the brackets, but it also tells Microsoft Word, hey, there's a field code coming. Well, the field code that we're going to be using to create our QR code is DisplayBarcode. So I'll go ahead and type DisplayBarcode. That is all one word. After DisplayBarcode, the next thing I need to do is put in a quotation mark and then the entire URL for the web address that I want it to go to when somebody points their camera on their phone. It will allow them to go to my website. So I'll put in the https://www.luthermaddy.com, which, by the way, is where you can go to find step-by-step instructions for just about everything I have out here on YouTube and a whole lot more, and all my videos can be accessed there as well. Alright, I do need, of course, to close the quotation marks. The next thing I need to put in here is to tell Microsoft Word what kind of a barcode we want to display. It actually could do like grocery store barcodes if that's what I wanted to do, but I want to do a QR code with the value in the parameters in the quotation marks. So I'm going to go ahead and type QR. Okay, we're almost there. The next thing we're going to do is kind of add some error protection here. There's 3 levels of error protection that Microsoft Word allows, or actually QR codes allow. And the highest level that Microsoft Word creates is 3, which means it's going to retry and retry and retry if the focus just isn't perfect. So we're going to put in a backslash here to put in what's called a switch, and then we're going to put in a Q, and then a 3. Okay, so error checking level 3. All right, there it is. Doesn't look like a QR code, doesn't look very impressive at all, but that is a start anyway. So actually, what we need to do now is we need to turn off the field codes. So we turn off the field codes by toggling. And if you've ever worked with Microsoft field codes, you like date codes, when you have the field codes displayed, it shows the code itself, not the result of the code. I want to see the result of this code, so I'm going to right-click inside the code and I'm going to choose Toggle Field Codes. And there it is. That's a QR code. And we'll try it out here in a minute, but as I mentioned, it's not very useful at this point because I can't really drag it, I can't move it, I can't size it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this particular code. Okay, and then I'm going to delete it. Don't get scared, but we're going to go ahead and delete it. And then I'm going to paste it using the paste special, and I'm going to paste it as a picture. Now that I've done that, I can go ahead and crop it. I'll probably go ahead and crop it. If I needed to, well, let's go ahead and crop it. So let's go ahead and change the layout to square so that I can drag it around. Then let's go ahead and crop it. I'll go into picture format and we'll choose crop. We'll make it a little bit smaller. That will make it a little bit easier for us to deal with when we're working with the other labels here in just a minute. All right, we click crop. Okay, and now we can drag it around and size it just as any other image. Okay, looks pretty good. Now, I'll go ahead and put in an additional part here. I'm going to go ahead and boldface, and I'm going to go ahead and put in my name here. Okay, and let's get rid of the bold. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And we're going to go ahead with educational content creator. All right, let's go ahead and tab over here. And of course, when you're in the table, you have to use Control Tab if you want to actually tab. Okay, perfect. We'll tab this one over here as well. All right, perfect. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it's not perfect, but we'll call it good enough for this example. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to move over here. Okay, select the whole label. I'm going to copy the whole label, and then I'm going to paste. And didn't exactly happy with that, but there we go. We'll paste again. We'll paste again. We'll paste again. We'll paste again. We'll paste again, and we will paste again. And finally, we have 10 business cards, and I could then print them, and my QR code is there. And of course, I could spend some time dressing this up, but for example purposes, you can see how really quick and easy that was. So I'm going to review again very quickly what we did. I'm going to go ahead and do a new document here, and remember we did the Control F9. We put in the display barcode. Quotation marks, the parameters. Quotation marks, QR for the type of code we wanted, and then we did the switch of the Q3. And then we toggled outside of it, and that's the barcode. And again, in order to use this as an image, we copied it and we pasted it as an image. All right, there you see how easy it is to actually create QR codes directly in Word. You can use these in business cards or flyers or invitations, like I said earlier. Well, hopefully you like this video. If you consider, please consider subscribing, consider liking this video, and we'll see you in the next video, which will come up with something to show you that hopefully is very useful to you. Thank you very much.